Right, we're here. I'm not having this slander that it's me that we're late. I'm not having that. Ronaldo's mic wasn't working. We fixed it.
But that weren't my fault either. I'm not in charge of electronics.
No, but it was your fault that we only came down here 3 minutes ago. All right, all right.
The only slight delay is I didn't know how to plug that in. That was the only thing.
I couldn't find your do-rag.
Couldn't find my do-rag.
Dre, you all right?
I'm just an intern. Nothing to do with me. Yeah, I'm all right.
Enjoy your first appearance last week?
I did enjoy it. Got a
any
bit of a
abuse?
buzz.
No abuse?
Little bit of abuse about this.
Oh, fair enough.
But did you fix it today?
Nah. I tried to fix it just then. I made it a little worse. I look like Hey Arnold.
No, but what would you describe your hairstyle as?
Basically, this is a bit of a transition period. I've got natural curls, so I'm going for the old Locatelli. But I don't think it's going like that. It's going a bit more like Marouane Fellaini. I had it cut. Sides and back. My brother's a barber, but...
What a fucking boring story this is.
You know what I'm saying?
Jesus Christ.
You asked about my hair.
I'm more looking at his hair thinking if he put glasses on, he'd look like a fucking Matilda principal or something.
Someone called him Screech, I think, last week, which I'll roll with that.
I got all sorts.
Right, so
Who we talking about?
The title is the Maguire slander justified? I wasn't entirely happy with the title, to be honest with you, because I was like, this implies I've been slandering him, and I don't think I have.
It's not you. We're talking about the general stuff.
Oh, no. Got it on my Twitter, I have been.
Or criticism.
Apparently, I've been lumped in with all of the toxic sort of creators in terms of people that I'm the reason. McCullough literally texted me saying, what the fuck have you said about Maguire? People are telling him I've been condoning the booing of him. Like, what? No, I haven't. I've never said that. I do boo at the game, but I do it ironically. I don't actually boo. Like, boo.
You got to love cancel culture, innit?
Fucking mental, innit?
Because
it's swung full circle, innit, now? If Maguire gets booed at the England game last night, don't give a fuck, because I don't watch England. But Maguire gets booed at the England game. Now everyone's decided all of a sudden that you can't boo. You've got to... You've got to, like... I don't even know. Support him.
The thing is, though, it's when you actually look at it, it's if he's getting booed at United, it's different. But he's always played well for England. He's done well with England. I mean, a lot of players have been coming out and saying it today. But he's got to a Euros final, he's got to a semi-final. So why are England fans?
How many of the
booing
people of all those players that are defending him? How many of them do you actually reckon tweeted it themselves?
I reckon a few, because I reckon that England group's quite like tight knit, and they're all like, "Oh, protect our players,"
Or is it just that kind of?
Do you want me to tell you how to fix it?
No.
Shall I go fix it? Fix what? Do you mean fix what? Put it back on me. This. Fuck's sake. Carry on, lads.
Yeah,
Great
basically.
conversation.
Well, do you think the same? Do you reckon this is all PR?
No, because you know what it is. It's one of them where like I think it's a sheep thing.
Right.
A lot of players nowadays, it's all about PR, public relations. It's all about how I look. So they've seen one of their fellow teammates tweet support about
back on the
player.
stay. Good job I know what I'm fucking doing, innit? As you were.
PR.
Cheers for that fucking toe punt. But anyway, but it's all PR and it's all about how good I can look, how supportive I can look. It's all about image. So I think they just see their fellow teammates doing it, so they'll pile on and said, I'll just put a tweet out as well. Might not necessarily even be them.
Did you see Tottenham's tweet?
The Tottenham
that's
tweet.
Ridiculous.
Is he dead?
Listen.
Now that's what I mean. It's like they just want to
Rest
get
in
good
peace, Harry Maguire, never walk alone. That's all we're waiting for.
Yeah, I know.
It's a fucking England. Where was... Like, they used to tell David Beckham, what your kid gets cancer.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing.
They used to have half of Wembley singing Stand Up If You Hate Man U while 5 United players in the fucking team.
But it's the same thing now, booing Maguire. They're booing him. They're like, oh yeah, he's a United player doing shit, let's boo him, that'll be well funny.
I don't even know
We're
the
all Millwall
reason that
fans.
they're booing him.
I actually don't know the reason because
It's that. They're just like, oh yeah, he's shit, innit? Boo, he's playing shit for United. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's a bit embarrassing, to be fair. I feel bad for him.
You feel? I know. You were telling me you feel bad for him.
Yeah, I feel bad for him because, like I said a minute ago, this is England. He's done well for England. So why are England fans booing him?
It's debatable.
Maybe it was largely United fans that are watching England, which I very much doubt. I very much doubt. Anyway,
I doubt many United fans go to Wembley to
but
watch England. To be honest.
I think it's just one of them. He's a bit of a comedic. He's a bit of a comedic factor in now. Everyone just looks
there is
at.
a bit of comedic factor about him now.
He's a bit
there
of
absolutely is. Like I've had all sorts of agendas and all sorts flung at me today. literally last night, I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw the Mings and Maguire photograph from England. And someone was like, you saw an opportunity to get some likes and this, that, and the other. I literally, because I put it into a group chat as well, the same thing. My thought was, fucking hell, what a downgrade that is for England.
Oh, yeah.
And do you know what? It's more about Mings than Maguire, actually. Like, you know my thoughts on Mings. In fact, go on, you tell the people what you think my thought on Mings is.
World class.
Not world class. He basically thinks that if you shed about 20 more pounds,
Who, me?
yeah, you'll not be far off him.
No, that was, well, maybe. But my actual thoughts on Mings are he's the worst fucking footballer in the Premier League. And here he is, wearing, I think, the number 5 for England, alongside Maguire. And my initial instinct at seeing that was, fucking hell, what a downgrade. These two. But a lot of that was on the Mings rather than the Maguire side of stuff. And I used Sol Campbell and Rio. And everyone was just like, well, what did the first two win for England? Well, what the fuck have these two won for England?
Exactly. But you'd be like...
Well, they got to a final, though, but the route is a fucking tap-in. Like, that 2002 England side, it lost in the quarterfinals. If you only see they lost in the quarterfinals as the thing and not... Hang on, who did they lose to? Oh, Roberto Carlos, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo. Right, okay. And not the fact that in the route to the semi-final in the last World Cup, England got beat off the first good team they played in Croatia.
I know. But you just look at their club records. Literally, just compare Sol Campbell and Rio Ferdinand's club records to Harry Maguire and Tyrone Mings.
And the other thing is people go, this England side plays as a team. No, well, that's more on the manager than it is on the players.
Yeah, and I rate that.
Wait, so you give Southgate credit?
Yeah, I will give him a little bit of credit, but I don't think he's fucking great, and I think he's a bit of a coward when it comes to the team. He's got a pretty good team for international football, but international football is fucking shit.
Yeah, because everyone's not talking about the club kind of angle of it. They're talking about what have they done for England kind of thing, and I'm just thinking, I saw you tweeted, I saw the team compared to the team now. I do think there's a lot of talent in England side now compared, obviously, I think like there always has been, but there's never been that kind of unity. You know why? They've touched on it loads. Back then, I think the rivalries between the players were a lot stronger. So it was a bit harder for the team to gel when he played nationally because they had that thing of, I play for United, you play for City, I don't like you.
Don't give anything away.
Don't give anything away. Whereas I think it's all friends and all pals now. I was shown by the fact that they're all tweeting, piping off Maguire.
No, I think that's for England, which I don't care about, but that's probably a positive thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make what I tweeted incorrect.
No,
fucking Mings and Maguire is an enormous downgrade on Rio and Sol Campbell.
Yeah.
That was it. There was no other. There wasn't like a hidden meaning. It was literally a fucking hell, look what we used to have. Now look like we've got.
You mentioned it earlier, another thing upstairs about how defending's changed and how Ferdinand and Campbell would have had to deal with players like Duncan Ferguson. Whereas, okay, so think of the Euros. Who did Maguire? Who played in defence in the Euros? Was it Stones and Maguire? Yeah. Who did they really have to like deal with? Okay, maybe like Muller.
I mean, the best team that they come up against was Germany. Muller doesn't play as a 9.
Well, there you go. They've got space, haven't they? They've got time. They haven't got someone just elbowing them, standing on their toes.
Just that. What we're saying, around the turn of the century, some of the strikers Rio was up against, literally in that quarter-final that England lost to in 2002, he's up against R9 with Rivaldo and Ronaldinho. Yeah. It's not a bad forward 3,
yeah, I know.
As far as forward 3 go. When you look at modern football, everyone's a Rashford copy-paste. It's a wide man's game with a bit of a 10 in the centre. It's such a different...
You're on about the new age inverted forward, innit?
Yeah, but
like
when
you
don't
really
look at
get...
what turn of the century centre-halves were dealing against, you had to be able to deal with Michael Owen, playing off your shoulder, looking for runs in behind, and you had to deal with Duncan Ferguson trying to fucking headbutt your face off. Yeah. And that was what made... those defending has gone downhill partially because I think goalkeeping's gone up.
Yeah,
and I think there's reasons for that. I think people are shooting from different angles and different places. I think you're seeing an evolution of football. I think playmaking has gone. If you was a number 10 playing now, I think you've got much more chance of being seen and appreciated and recognised versus one played in 1993. Yeah. I think football has evolved in certain areas, and at the moment, there's not as many amazing. Like fullbacks are way more important in the game than they've ever been.
I'm always in the side of feeling like it's always extremely hard to be comparative about different generations of football, and that's in any sport. So I'll see points for what you're saying about it, and I also see points against it in it, because maybe defending was required to be slightly different back then, but people excelled at that, and then maybe this
either way though,
in this generation
as
is different.
ball players, I'm still putting Sol Campbell and Rio ahead of either of those two by a fucking country mile. Mings actually would have looked great in 2000. Big, physical, gets his napper on stuff, not has to play out a lot, just fucking smash people. Mings would have been a rating a lot higher in the previous generation.
Centre-backs seem to be more judged today based on how well they can play the ball.
Yeah, there's so little competition.
It's a massive difference
for top class centre halves.
Yeah, but we both know what Mings has. He's got the that left-footed centre half tax. I think left-footed centre halves are a little bit of a luxury. They're not as common, they're quite a bit of a rarity as well. So then when you find one, I think that's what kind of hypes them up a little bit.
Seth Smith has dropped in a super chat. Thank you very much, our kid. And he says, Maguire isn't shit. He's a skyscraper who can run playing in a side that's more possession than sitting deep. Just tell Southampton and be done. I think you mean can't.
I don't think he suits Southampton either.
No, I'm not sure either. No, I think...
I don't think he's a Hasenhüttl centre half either.
He's a bottom half of the league player. And actually, didn't you pull up a stat earlier?
Yeah, if you're watching, Harry, sorry, but
yeah, go on.
He got relegated twice in one season. So in 2014-15, he's playing for Hull, went on loan to Wigan, and they both went down. So that's not a great stat. It's
just funny though. Like, Harry Maguire is the only English player to ever be relegated twice in the same season.
I know.
That was impossible. But if you're going on that, if you're going to extend that a little bit, obviously, Will, he works with us, he's a Hull fan, and he tells us all about Harry Maguire's early days for Hull City. Seeing that he was literally a 24, 25-year-old that couldn't get in the team ahead of Curtis Davies and Michael Dawson. And he actually got his move to Leicester off the back of Hull were basically already done and dusted. One of the centre-halves... Did one of the centre-halves get injured, Will, or did he just get himself in the side towards the end of the season?
Dawson get injured. One of them got injured.
Yeah, he played, and because what people see is, whenever there's a team that's been relegated, quite often what you'll see is one of the decent players that they see with a bit of spark, a bit of a ceiling, that are young, they get taken in it. So Liverpool took Andy Robertson.
And as you said upstairs,
Leicester
you do
took
have to
Maguire.
give him credit.
Yeah.
He got the move from Leicester on the back of his performances for Leicester. He was good at Leicester. Unfortunately, the way Leicester play is not the way Manchester United want to play. And also, he was doing well for England, mostly in a 3. That's not what he comes to offer. And there's another thing. And again, he didn't ask for it, but he also didn't refuse it. So the fact he's Manchester United captain comes with additional scrutiny, like it or not. And when you look at the pantheon of legends, some of the winningest footballers that have ever played the game, to wear that armband for Manchester United, Harry Maguire is the odd one out in a massive sense. Even Valencia's looking down his nose going, fuck me, what have United become?
I know. And you could say, oh yeah, but we're shit at the minute, so it's harder to have a better captain. But we had Brian Robson.
Yeah, we were pretty shit when Brian Robson was captain as well. But like, that didn't reflect on him. He led that team. He drove that team forward. He demanded more from that team. All I see Harry doing is trying to point the blame elsewhere. And I've mentioned that a few times, is the lack of ownership from him's fucking embarrassing. Atirek with a super chat says, Keno spot on, saying Gareth made it a bigger story than what it is. Every player gets booed. There's going to be idiots at football matches, and England have got a lot of idiots. Yeah, England fans just don't do it for me. I would also agree with what he said there about Gareth Southgate. I don't think Gareth Southgate handles any of the things that he's had to do in terms of like publicly managing players. He's fucking screwed up loads of these,
especially with his reasoning for leaving Jadon Sancho out.
Yeah, and the way the way he handled Foden and Greenwood, I think he's really screwed it up. Seth with another super chat there says it's not Ming's fault. He just believes he's playing the other football, and yes, can't. Yeah, some of his other super chat. Harry belong in a side that sits deep. Yeah, totally agree with that.
I thought some of your Ming's hatred might have come from that time where didn't you have 2 altercations with Zlatan?
I don't care about that. I like that.
You liked it. You liked it when Wings, call him Wings then, when Mings stood on Zlatan's head?
No, I don't specifically.
You liked
like
that.
No,
You remember that? Remember that?
No, but I like
Yeah.
centre halves that back themselves in a physical sense like that. I didn't enjoy watching Zlatan get his head stood on, but I enjoy a centre half that's willing to do that. I can respect that.
Lunatic, mate.
Yeah, bring me the chaos.
I do feel bad for Maguire though, because you said it again upstairs. Like he did play well under the right system under Ollie. He can bring the ball forward.
I'm not going to rewrite
And-
history.
no, I know.
He was
but
good.
Exactly, and it's like, but you have to remember as well, he got his move to United on the back of a good World Cup. Do you know what I mean? Like, because before that World Cup, he was a bit of, Harry Maguire, this guy looks decent. He has a good World Cup.
Became slabhead.
Yeah, and then not that summer, but the summer after, we sign him. And how many players have been signed on the back of a World Cup and just turn out to be
It's
shite?
It's just
exactly.
No, it's
One of
just
the
the
rules,
fact.
do not buy players on the back of World Cup.
And literally,
Yeah.
like Harry Maguire had a great World Cup, and he had a good Euros.
James Rodriguez.
He had a really good. He was like team of the year or team of the Euros.
I don't know why though.
He did all right, but that's my point. Look at him now. Do you know what I mean?
But even
He's-
then, I was kind of like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
International football's
good penalty taker. He's a good penalty taker.
Tom Ryder in the comments says Maguire's still comfortably England's best centre half.
That's actually
I mean-
worrying. Is he better than Stones at the moment?
It depends what you want, doesn't it?
Do you know, it's actually hard to like make
Yeah,
an
it's-
argument
Yeah.
who's England's best centre half.
Is
It
he
depends
better,
what you want.
Is he better than Tamori? He's been doing great abroad. It's a bit of a. I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure about that. I think if Maguire actually is comfortably England's best centre half, then England got a lot of problems.
The press go quiet is the comment that says from someone that's put, what the fuck, am I actually right? What a username that is. The press goes quiet when Southgate says something, he's doing something right. Southgate's got that right, I'll give him that he's got the temperature inside the camp bang on. Like, the lads love playing there, obviously. And there was even a bit of a slide dig from Maguire today with that. And also, for whatever reason, there seems to be this massive PR spin about the England team. They didn't win fuck all, but they're getting wanked into oblivion for it. They're seen as, and the press aren't reporting when we go out. They're all dickheads like they have done in previous years.
Yeah, but it's because they've done better than other teams. And like the thing is, this England team have won nothing, but they have done better than other England teams. No England team has got to a semi-final and a final consecutively.
See, everyone.
And like you can argue blah blah blah, like the routes have been fucking easy, blah 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 blah. But he has done well. Southgate's also done well at dealing with like the racism stuff during games, getting players off the pitch and stuff. Like he does get things right. But like you said, like the whole Foden Greenwood thing was just a fucking shambles.
Peter Kelly here says, speaking of centre halves, I've been trying to educate a Newcastle fan who said Van Dijk's better than Rio, Vidic and Stam. Waste of time, mate.
Is he a Liverpool
Honestly,
fan?
like there's not a single metric that stacks that up. The eye test doesn't stack that up. And again, here's the other thing: is the opposition that they're up against can't be computed. The forwards that is up. When you see that the likes of Rio, Vidic, Stam, they were handling Alan Shearer one week, Prime Michael Owen the next, and Aguero the next week, and a Drogba. A Terry Henry. Like,
do you not think Aguero's a bit in a new age as well? Because I'm about to mention him. Because he's probably been the latest of legendary strikers that's just gone.
Yeah,
the
but
current
he's
generation.
been here since, when did he join here? About 2011, 2010?
Yeah, because reality, who's going to, 2011-ish, because it's going to be, Aguero and Harry Kane that are the current ones.
Yeah.
Even though Aguero's just gone.
But Harry Kane doesn't play up against you as a striker. Aguero does. Or in between you at least. But all of those other strikers, the likes of Terry Henry's playing on you. He's going to hold you off a little bit. He was strong, Terry Henry. Drogba's playing on you. He's not going to ghost off like Harry Kane and fuck about on the halfway line, is he? Like, that's who those centre halves were, legendary dominant centre halves playing against some fucking serious.
I'm not going to lie to you though. You've just described the kind of scenario that most centre halves say that they prefer. Centre backs would tell you, I swear I've heard Rio say this a number of times, they generally like when strikers play up against them than when they have no one to mark. Do you know what I mean? I feel like centre halves kind of enjoy that physicality a little bit more. So I think this whole false nine thing that you get nowadays, where people dropping off, rotating, that's a bit more difficult to deal with, I think.
It is, but a lot of the time as well, back then, it'd have been two strikers too. I think it's easier to be a centre half nowadays.
You can see more, but then you're going to get players running at
I think it depends who you play for.
And that is a nightmare as a
Yeah,
defender.
and obviously,
Do you know what I mean?
the difference in who you're coming up against.
Because, for example, we're talking
Van
about...
Dijk's probably the best centre half in the world at the moment, right? And I always get that fucking Chris Smalling thing called up on me. I went on a video called Flame Wars. I didn't think it was a fucking TED talk on defending, right? The whole idea is to make the other person fucking laugh, right?
Yeah.
Do you think my honest opinion on Van Dijk is that he's a Dutch Chris Smalling, or do you think I was just trying to say the funniest thing I could think of? No, of course it isn't.
Now, because when we talk about it depends who you play for. If you're looking at Liverpool, I feel like playing centre half Liverpool will be very difficult. I feel like you get left isolated a lot. You basically stood on the halfway line.
Exactly.
A lot of running back.
Real talks about that.
You've got
1v1s.
They're literally playing 1v1. You've got Andy Robertson and Trent either side here, who basically spend the majority of the game as right and left wingers.
So far forward.
They're heavily exposed, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like I always watch Liverpool and think playing centre half for this team must be difficult. And I would agree. I think Matip's actually had a better season than Van Dijk.
I can see that.
Van Dijk's had a few suspect games. I don't know if you've seen.
Yeah,
he's got caught doing his little
his been
jockeying thing that he's got going on.
He runs off it. Like Rio says, he would see play developing. You know, he's tried to move Carrick around and he's tried to box Gary Neville into a corner to make sure they're dealing with those threats. And he said sometimes, especially early in his career, he goes, he wanted to show how good he was a defender, and he'd let a ball run
so he could chase,
smash someone and get the ball, and you just think, fucking hell.
That's what Wan-Bissaka does.
Yeah. I don't think Wan-Bissaka's thinking about it like that. It just happens.
That's all.
I see Wan-Bissaka all the time just delay when he could get there early just so he can slide.
I think that's what I think he's got the timing of that nailed. And I think if
but sometimes he does it so unnecessary.
Standing, yeah, it is.
You know he's going to do it.
Remember,
you just know.
And
You see it.
he's so
going to
good
do
at
it.
it.
But that's the thing. He's literally one of the best one-on-one defenders I've ever seen. But that's it. That is it.
Do you see the
That's
what?
all he has.
You watch Leeds?
Especially if you're someone
The
like
Leeds game.
a Sterling
Yeah.
or a Zaha.
Yeah.
Ellen Road, he was like the pitch was wet as fuck. It was like a slip and
He
slide.
fucking loved it.
Did you see Wan-Bissaka that game? He spent 90% of the match on the floor. He fucking loved it. Sliding after everything.
In terms of like Premier League defenders, it's Yapstam #1, and then it's Rio, and then it's Vidic for me, and then Pallister just right underneath that.
Is that your top 4 centre halves all time in Premier League? And
I don't know if I'll have any non-United.
Or is that
ones in
United
there,
ones?
to be
Because I'm
honest.
going to say, is that just
What
your United?
What about Martin Keown?
Tony Adams?
Tony Adams was good, but I think a lot of his playing and good playing and reputation was earned pre-Premier League. You saw the tail end of him in the Premier League, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Because he came through young, didn't he?
John Terry.
Ronnie.
John Terry's a fucking myth, mate. John Terry is a myth of a defender. I'm not having that.
Ronnie, me and you, 24, 23, who would you say in our... We remember, because we don't remember like Stam.
Yeah, I
we
don't
remember
remember
we remember Ferdinand and Vidic.
I'd probably say Vidic.
I'd say Vidic. as
Fucking
well.
loved Vidic.
Yeah. But he was just like... Obviously, he put his head anywhere. And it's just like...
I think
you
Vidic-
could watch that and just be like, fucking yeah.
I think Vidic, in terms of raw defending, was very good, but he's very eye-catching. Almost, do you know what you say? Highlights player.
Yeah.
His defending was highlights a lot of the time, where I think Rio did a lot more of the organising. Same with Yapstam. Yapstam did a lot more of the organising. Stam was almost Rio and Vidic rolled into one player, where he was hyper-aggressive and would win everything he went for. Amazing in the air. Ridiculously quick. Who, me? Ridiculously quick. Like, deceptively quick. Because you look at him, he looks like a fucking doorman, right? And you go like, there's no way. Like, how the fuck's he going that fucking far? But, he was so fucking quick. And he could play. Like, he's fucking done.
he's
That's the
Dutch,
funny
innit?
thing about
Yeah,
centre
yeah.
halves. Centre halves always look slow because they're taller and more sluggish and that. But whenever you actually get the vest
good
on
one.
or the GPS on, centre halves usually always clock the top speeds.
Do you
I don't know
know
why.
I know exactly why. It's recovering.
Yeah, it's turning around.
It's when they've been done.
But they've still got to do that speed though.
They do. But the players that they're chasing are with a ball, usually, or aren't running as fast. So a centre half gets the time to get a good head of speed. You think about when you're playing, how often do you hit top speed? It's rare.
Yeah.
You might explode for 5 or 6 metres to get past the line or beat an offside trap, and then you might slow yourself down as you get in possession to go around the keeper maybe. Your top speed ain't as fast as someone that missed you and tries to just fucking get back and recover. And that's why I think you always see centre-halves with higher... I mean, it's the same with Paddock. Obviously, we wear GPS, don't we? So the centre-halves are always highly up in there. And it's often running forward, running back to fucking recover. Some super chats here. We got another one from Seth. We were told Napoli's Koulibaly would cost 72 mil, and we thought Maguire for 8 mil more was a better option. No comment.
That's just United being United, where they salivate over any English player within the Premier League.
I think they're very
That's
willing. We
where-
mentioned this the other day, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think the United are very willing to spend big dough on English players.
in the Premier League.
Daniel Kirk, who's a member of the channel, you can become a member of the channel just by clicking join below. He says, thoughts on Southgate saying Maguire is United's best centre-back. Has he not heard of Varane? Varane's had a disappointing season, but that's just fucking plain wrong, innit?
Yeah. He hasn't torn up any trees, has he? But the thing is, you can see his class. You can
Varane?
still see his class. Yeah, you can see.
There's
his
flashes
class.
in every game that he's played where you kind of purr about him.
Yeah, and you know when a player plays bad, but you can tell it's because the other players around him are shit. You see that all the time. You can just see him like, what the fucking, what are you doing there, Aaron Wan-Bissaka? Do you know what I mean? Like, you see that a lot. And we were having this conversation a few days ago about Deadwood FC. Like, you could literally get it like on one hand. You could count how many players could win a title in that team.
It's not going to be fixed in this transfer window, so United fans can get that one out of the window. It's too much.
Atirek with a super chat there says, Steve, the biggest problem with Maguire isn't just ability. He's bang average, but the real issue is his disgrace of a captain. I'd say the real issue is, I said it before, lack of ownership. It's the lack of realisation about who and what he is and what he's doing. That's the real issue. Like, you see the ego come out in him when he scores a fucking goal against Andorra, which honestly must be panic level, right? Starts fucking cupping his ear, like, yeah, mate, everyone was complaining that you didn't score enough fucking headers against Andorra. No, that's not why you've been criticised. It isn't why you've been
I can't get over that, you know. It's the fact you didn't own it after either. Imagine scoring. Was it Andorra?
And that's it. It's dishonest, mate.
That
People
tells
are like,
you.
oh, you're shutting up your critics there, which is clearly what you've gone out and do.
literally say
Oh,
it.
what did he say is the excuse?
He
He just said, oh, it wasn't that.
He just
didn't
said he wasn't that. I was celebrating something basically.
Shut
nah.
up, you dick. Like, I honestly wish there was more character in footballers where they'd just go, yeah, do you know what I did? Yeah.
You know, as
So
well
what?
going in.
It's
I'm
rare
getting
though
fucking
now.
pelters, mate, so I'm giving them.
People are scared about getting cancelled. They're worried about saying stuff that's going to piss people off.
Mankey there says Van Dijk's good because he doesn't have to deal with Rooney, Henry, RVP, Ruud van Nistelrooy, etc. week in, week out. It's a good point. Jordan Clark says Will Fish's got a good chance in a couple of years. We did a video the other day, didn't we, talking about players that we might see come through. Will Fish, a couple of years. Yes, I think it's potential. Ross Murphy there, he's a member of the channel, says, here's a question for you three. If we signed Van Dijk instead of Maguire, would he have improved us or would we be in the position Maguire in now?
Well, he'd look better with Varane, wouldn't he?
I don't think it's comparable. I think we all
It's
expected
hard, isn't it?
the Van Dijk impact because of the price.
Yeah, we said that.
But Van Dijk, as we know, can play on the halfway line. We know this. We know he's a player that can carry the ball out. We know, actually, the ball playing ability of Van Dijk, the way he pumps it into the channels, which Liverpool fans, I don't know why they're so like almost ashamed to admit that he goes long with it. He's very good at it.
Yeah, I know.
He's very good.
Nah,
He's very
you
Koeman-esque,
know,
isn't he?
now you
Yeah,
know. Look at the
that's
stat. No team in the Premier League does more long passes than Liverpool.
But they're like, that's not, we
And
don't play like
they're
that.
like they don't, but they do. Liverpool are very, very, very direct statistically, and obviously it
If
works.
we'd have signed Van Dijk, then not that it was
Yeah.
an option. I don't think we were ever even in for him. Like, I don't even remember being linked
It-
because it was like it came about in a winter, didn't it?
He didn't have an
And then
English
it never went
passport.
through.
Yeah.
Didn't have an English
It was always
passport,
just a
mate.
Liverpool thing.
Yeah,
wasn't
it was like he was
always.
going to Liverpool and then he put a transfer request in and then it didn't happen. And then it happened the following summer. There was no fucking sniff of it going to United any time.
I agree with what Daniel said about Maguire's biggest problem is his mentality. I just don't think he reacts well to adversity. And you know what he does? His whole attitude and demeanour stinks of someone that's like, he's had an ascension too fast, too quickly.
Based on nothing.
And it's got into his head. And then now when he's had a bit of adversity and a bit of criticism in his career and a bit of a blip, he's almost went into his shell a bit. And he's got like this defensive look about, it's not really my fault. I don't think he really takes any accountability. Because obviously he's gone from like being 24-ish at Hull, not really getting in the side, to being United captain in 4 years. That's a quick ascension. And I think he's kind of just not reacted to the fact that he's had a blip. And he just wants people to tell him how good he is. I reckon he's at home loving all these tweets about him, saying, we love you, Harry, all that, whatever. Because obviously we know about what he did when he got his fucking agent to speak to Rio.
Didn't happen in the summer because they tapped him up, so he went in the winter. Yeah, I knew it was something to do with the tapping up that it didn't happen. But yeah, you're right. I can't remember which way around it was. Abdullah says, hi Steve, do you remember your analysis on training and warm-ups about how they affect performances? Customato trained Tyson intensely so he'd be ready before the bell rang. Lessons to be learned. Every ex-United player that you speak to will tell you. We had Henningberg on Paddock Podcast last week and he said the same thing. I misphrased what he said by saying he said that Premier League games were easier. He didn't say easier, he said slower. He said Premier League matches were slower compared to training at United, and therefore it looked easier. You had a bit more time and a bit of thingy. So I misphrased that when I hit him with a question, but he answered it himself anyway. He said, yeah, it was slower. And if you can replicate that level of intensity in training, like Roy Keane said it, Rio said it, I think Rooney said it, maybe I've heard Carrick say it. I've heard a lot of United players say they used to have a match on either a Thursday or a Friday morning, just an hour, 11 aside, and that would be the hardest game they had all week. And he goes, I think Rio said, you have fucking butterflies going into that game sometimes because that was the game that you had to sort of show everyone else. And I don't see this mentality. I don't see Marcus going into training going, I'm going to fucking smash you lot today.
Can you imagine that game now?
Do you not think that's a bit of just like internal team kind of committing and competing against each other kind of thing? What you don't like.
Need it.
No, but that's probably why training games are a little bit more intense in it, because you've got obviously it's in Man United, you've got players fighting for their places. There's a lot of quality in the side, and it's just wanting to get one over on your mate a little bit. Sometimes those games are a little bit more competitive. I think there's a bit more predictability as well, because you know the players you're playing against, you with them all the time. You can be a bit more confident. I might jump out there aggressively in training, but I'm not going to do that in a match, kind of thing. I think that's why it's hard to compare the two. Because remember I told you how my mate plays in the Champ says when he watches the Champions League, he says some of those games look so much slower than the Championship, but it's a quality difference. Because who's gonna jump out and press against PSG?
Yeah.
They'll just bop round you. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's being smart.
Well, that's quality then. That's where the quality of your play comes in. Have you ever seen King of the Ring Manchester?
The boxing.
Like the backyard boxing.
Yeah.
What is it?
Have you seen it?
I've seen.
It's fucking mayhem, is what it is, right? Have you seen it?
I've seen. I watch it all.
Now you watch that, and you watch a professional boxing fight. Which one's more intense?
Probably the King of the Ring one.
100% the King of the Ring one, because untrained lunatics are just throwing for the fences. They're just trying to fucking hit you with something as fucking fast and as intense as they can.
Is there a ref?
Kinda. There's a guy standing in there. I don't know if he's reffing.
He's reffing as much as he can.
Yeah, sometimes he refs. Yeah, sometimes he just watches
he just gets involved. Yeah.
Now, I'm being very, very serious. You watch that King of the Ring Manchester or any of them backyard fights. They're brutal, and they're at a pace that professionals aren't going to go to, because professionals go, I'm here for fucking 12 rounds, you dickhead. Like, I'm not going out like that.
That's exactly it. Do you know what I mean? That's why I feel like the training game, I'm just putting myself in that kind of imagery, the same kind of shoes, what I'd think like.
He's 100% right. Championship, League One, so much more intense than the Champions League.
Not all games, but some.
Yeah.
I
would say on average, the average Champions League, certainly knockout game, the intensity is not there because it's a very tactical game. You know, you're talking now about in a Championship game, like in King of the Ring Manchester, you're looking at trying to overwhelm your opponent, and that's how you're going to win. Whereas in the Champions League, you're looking, I don't want to make a mistake. It's like me fight Floyd Mayweather, yeah? I'm going to throw 3 punches and hope you don't fucking box my face off in the fucking second it takes to get my hand back to my head. Yeah. Because that's how fucking good he is. He doesn't need an opening. And I think you're right that there's something in that level of intensity that, it slows down again.
Yeah.
I think it goes up and up and up and up and up. And I think if you had to sort of dissect what the difference from Conference to Premier League is, it's speed and intensity. But at some point, that speed and intensity peaks and comes back down again along an X and Y axis where there's quality involved. And the higher the quality, the slower it's going to start to get. That's
just off being wary, innit? As I've said, you can't just be going gun-ho chasing a ball like it's a kick about at lunch at secondary school against good players.
Halves, right? You press fucking
but gun-ho.
Edison, right? And see how that fucking goes for you. You put your defence on the halfway lines, they're going to press City.
Yeah,
cool. Like Milton Keynes,
Round you in
MK Dons,
seconds.
right? Let's say Milton Keynes Dons. I'm playing MK Dons because that's who City drawing all the cups, right? In the Champions League. So I'm MK Dons boss. They've just
Or
fucking
Oxford
put me in
United.
charge, and City have drawn us in the Champions League because that's who they get. And I'm going to say, right, we're going to go fucking press them in their half. It's 1-0 in 38 seconds.
That's exactly how the Bundesliga's like.
Yeah, it
The
is.
Bundesliga got that mentality of if I'm bottom league side goes away to fucking Bayern and just
Yeah,
goes,
I'll press
fuck
them,
it,
fuck it."
we'll press, fuck it, we'll try and win.
Fair
That's
play to
why-
him, though. That's
Yeah.
probably why you
Chat
get better
here
managers
says-
coming out of there.
Daniel Kirk says, Steve, can I do a video on Oshiman? I think he's the answer to our striker problem. We've been doing loads of those videos, and there's plenty of time left before the end of the window. Not that we're going to sign anyone, but you know.
Can get them ready though.
But what you can do, you want to know a signing that you can make. Oh, you see what I did there? Manscaped. Spring has sprung, bitches. And that means Manscaped is the best tool for your spring cleaning in your pants. The confidence will be blooming like the flowers this upcoming spring. It's time to clear out that winter bush and get with the other 4 million men who trust Manscaped. Use the code XG20, get 20% off, get that free shipping, and get yourself the best ball trimmer that the world has ever seen. Manscaped's the leaders in men's below-the-waist grooming and have forever changed the grooming game with their amazing Performance Package 4.0. Listen, you know that in the ball care bundle, you're going to get a Lawnmower 4.0, which is a trimmer. You're going to get the Weed Whacker, which is for your ears and your nose hair, right? Because I'm going to be honest, some people might find hairy blokes attractive, right? There's whole genres for that. There isn't a genre, right? There's not one porn search for hairy noses, right? It's not out there. So even if you're into your big hairy bloke fetish, that's fine. But if you're into noses, that's just a you thing, right? So do yourself a favor, get with the odds, shave your nose, sort your fucking ear out. Your ear doesn't need to look like a fucking microphone fluff. It
Like
doesn't
Ryan
need to look
Giggs' chest.
Yeah, it doesn't need to look like that. Keep it clean, keep it tidy, and keep it fucking trimmed. The 4.0 trimmer is a pube assassin. It's waterproof and it's equipped with an LED. So if, like Jay Motti, you like to do it in the dark in the shower, you can do that. It's an elite trimmer designed to take hair off you, even on loose skin. And although your balls might look like punching bags, don't treat them like one with the benefit of their proprietary skin-safe technology. Listen, we've spoke about Manscaped more than enough. You know what it is, you know what it does, and you know that you're probably going to have to buy a gift for someone at some point anyway, right? XG20 at manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping. Go do it. They support the channel. If you want to just fit, what do I buy the man that's got everything? Ball trimmers. That's what you buy the man that's got everything.
He needs a pube assassin.
Pube assassin. Riley says, no, it wasn't Riley. Mankey says, do I think Manscaped will ever do a Womanscaped? I think so. I thought of something for Manscaped the other day. I can't remember what it is now. It was genius, though. I'm not going to sit here trying to remember because that's not entertaining. But it was good. I can't remember what it is now.
Yeah, going back to training and stuff, intensity in training. Do you reckon United players are just going to training and just being like, I'll just rock up and I'll go
Well, that's
later?
apparently not been the case since Ragnick's coming. I think Ragnick's coming and rustled a few feathers a little bit actually since he's arrived.
What's Jamie Carragher's tweet on Maguire?
I think it's when he started going home in the dark and stuff.
Yeah.
We were training a bit longer, maybe doing double sessions when he wouldn't usually.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when Ollie was in charge, he could be like, Ollie, we don't want to train.
This is
later."
the problem when
Okay,
a club.
lads.
That's it. When a club's not winning, it's like almost when you make it to a sleeping giant like United, you think you've made it. Do you know what I mean? When you get there, you think you've made it because you get in there and players are
Because
just
it's
like,
you know what it is? It's like it's the pinnacle.
yeah.
In English football, United is seen as the pinnacle. Maybe not so much now, but I feel like still in a way.
Oh my God.
Do you know what I mean? Because we spoke.
His biggest problem.
Oh
Go
my
on, go on,
God.
go on. Read
Oh
out
my
Carragher's
God.
tweet then. Read it out.
I'm going to retweet it. I agree with it.
He's not the first.
Harry's biggest problem is not England fans. It's his performance and future at Man United. He's not the first person to be booed by a few clowns and won't be the last, so get on with it. Show some character, perform well, and shut people up. Fucking hell, Harry. You're making me agree with Angin Scousers.
I'm not gonna lie, yeah. Jamie Carragher's spitting. I'm not the kind we know him for.
Hey.
But
It's flawless. That's flawless.
Perfect. That's literally what we've been saying, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Spitting
I'd
facts.
go and see what Gary Neville's saying, but he's probably talking about fucking Andy Burnham.
politics, Neville.
Sake, yeah. I mean, has he declared himself in the fucking general election?
I
yet,
don't know,
or
it
what?
won't be
No,
long.
but I
It
reckon.
won't be long.
I wonder how many
thing on his
how
plate.
many PC clowns on Twitter he's ruffled there. I can imagine.
The comments will probably be well worth reading. So have a look at the not that comments on the YouTube comments, please. Oh, so people already tagged us in it. Best and worst ad Manscaped want you to read. Well, Ben Foster read it. It was about.
I heard about that.
I can't remember the exact thing here. It was kind of like, do you know in Game of Thrones there's a lad in a wheelchair? There was some sort of comparison to being in a wheelchair to not shaving your balls, and I was just like, I'm not reading that.
And it was legit from Manscaped.
Yeah, Ben Foster read it. You can go find it. He read it, and we was all like, because we obviously they sponsor 1,000 podcasts, don't they? So we're like, someone will read that. Let's just wait and see. And then Ben Foster read it. But I think it was a Paddock podcast with me, Jay, and Adam, and it came up on the screen, and all of us went, "Yeah, you can't read that." No one had vetted it. The current read that they've got on the Paddock pod is fucking terrible as well. It's just pun
The
central.
pube assassin mentioned.
Nah, it's fucking
No,
shocking.
it's just how many puns are in the Champions League related puns. Cheers.
Do you know what? Like that tweet just made me had a little bit of a revelation. It's a bit like we were actually having all this noise and drama over a football player being booed a little bit at a football game.
I know.
If you actually put it into perspective, how crazy is that?
It's just the over journalism.
Like, this
of
is a
football,
huge-
though, isn't it? It's just trying to get clicks and
Nah,
stuff.
it's actually insane that
We
everything's-
overwrite everything. We
No, but
overread
it's the
and
whole.
write.
Nah, but it's the whole.
100%.
We need to apologise to Maguire. I stand by you.
Stand
Tottenham
by him.
to-
He got
Why-
booed.
for being booed. I've actually fully deeped it now and thought, nah, this.
For someone going,
Nah, literally.
I mean, I don't even know what they were booing him for. I didn't watch the game, so I don't even know if he played well. Like
It was before, the game. That's why it was a bit. I mean, it's a bit harsh, but
Was it definitely just him?
Nah, man.
I don't know. I didn't watch it, but that's just what I heard.
Nah, it's just wet, man. It just sums. And this is the kind of thing that's not going to help build.
I'm not a fan of
Maguire's
booing.
character.
One, it sounds like mooing, which always makes. That's why I go moo. Right?
What have you got against that?
Mooing.
That's a really random thing to be against.
Moo.
At a football game, I just everyone mooing.
Yeah, I just,
That's what it is, isn't it? It's just
I'm
like-
not going to start kicking off. If you want to boo, but I just don't. It's not my thing. Like I boo ironically. I'll boo when someone calls that trick. Boo. Or just like someone's playing mega and just like fluff the lines for a
Yeah,
shot.
yeah.
Boo. Like I'll do it ironically.
Oh yeah. It's like banners.
Yeah, but I don't. I'm.
I just don't like that.
Never
It's
like
just,
do those half-time boos when you're losing.
Yeah.
I just sit there disappointed. I'm not going to boo.
like if Maguire gets booed after playing shit for United, I don't mind that. But I just don't like how it's non-United fans booing him and they just think it's funny because that's what it is. That's what it is. They just think, he's shit for United. Let's boo him. It'll be funny. And it's just like, fuck off.
I have no idea. We can't determine whether it was actually United fans or if it was non-United fans. Just people booing because they've seen what we've all seen, and he's been shite all season.
He has been shy.
So they're just trying to jump on. I feel like half for it's probably banter, and it's been taken personal, like he's been shot or something. I actually don't really get what's going on, to be honest.
Seth Smith says that specific podcast with a Manscaped Game of Thrones read was my first. Immediately joined Patreon and loved you guys ever since. Thanks for the laughs. Cheers, mate.
Who's the guy coming up with these though in the Manscaped office?
He's got to be doing all the weed. 80 mil McLaren with a VW Beetle engine is called analytical banter, not abuse. Someone sent Harry to infantry school. That's what I was getting told this morning, that I was abusing Harry Maguire by saying, "Oh, what a downgrade." Literally, you can't say fucking Newt no more, can you?
Can't say anything.
Can't say fucking Newt.
It is weird though how just like together this England team is. It's almost like
And he's shagging. What's going on?
It's just like obviously all the arguments about the 2006 team, that they didn't sit with each other, blah 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 blah.
Some fucking
But, like,
winners.
It's
in
like
it,
it's
wasn't
almost like someone's like, let's just do the exact opposite of that.
it? Yeah, not win.
They-
and
Yeah,
not win. Fuck
they all
all.
sit round one table. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just like literally they're trying to do the opposite. One player gets booed, let's all tweet. Even Tottenham are doing it.
Nah, but
Why
I
are
think-
Tottenham doing it?
I don't get the Tottenham, but I saw Roy Keane mention it as well. He thinks obviously he thought Southgate was the one that was making a whole meal out of it, and he was basically thinking what we're thinking. It's not really that deep. He just needs to. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Roy Keane's definitely got grudges against Southgate for not smashing him harder. Like Roy Keane got sent off for stamping on Southgate's chest, and if you've not seen it, here's the thing, right? Southgate plays the victim in this entirely, but he gets stamped on because he's flew in at Roy Keane on a standing leg, by the way, as well, at knee height and missed. And Roy Keane's kind of jumped out the way of it a little bit and then fucking stamped on his chest.
Yeah, come on, like what you did, what you were attempting there.
Bingo. I fucking hate Southgate. Hate him as a player. Fucking hated him since '93. Fuck him. What a fucking boring man.
And Roy Keane's definitely one to take grudges to the grave, I reckon.
Absolutely. I mean, he got a grudge with Fergie, for fuck's sake, which is sad.
Anytime.
That'd be the one that I would go, come on, can we not?
Literally anytime.
Parents arguing, come on.
Anytime Fergie's brought up and it's kind of like praising when he's on the panel, he's always quick to going, you had his faults as well, you know. You weren't perfect.
And he's like, oh yeah, I work with Brian Clough as well.
Yeah,
I work with Brian Clough. Which is fair enough because Brian Clough is the top manager, but it's like, we're not talking about Brian Clough, Roy.
It's funny though.
The England, Peter Kelly says the England team now has pure football friends off in between us vibes. Done it?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? They all just
I actually liked it more when they hated each other.
I think it's all pretending.
Like some of the stuff Rio says about England camp, he goes, I would
table.
like walk, United. He goes, I'd sit at the United table. He goes, I'd see Frank Lampard. He goes, I grew up with Frank Lampard. It's like, that's my mate. He goes, he's like almost like a cousin. He goes, I'll be like, fucking.
They all go swimming now. You know,
there's like that fucking unicorns in the fucking pool.
They just go swimming.
Oh, fuck off, honestly. Yeah.
I reckon they're all mixed now. Obviously, it's probably resulted in England being more of a threat and being more unified in fucking international competition. But realistically, I don't care about that. I'm more bothered about that whole United versus Chelsea and City. You know, proper Barclays heritage that's not there anymore.
That's what I grew up with. Fucking grown up. I was raised right, so I hate Liverpool.
That's half the reason why
you
don't see the same kind of shithousery and kind of passion within the derbies nowadays either.
Yeah, because
it's all
a
bit.
Mates.
Yeah.
Even like look at De Gea the other day. Who was he posing with at the end of the game? After the Atletico
just
game.
one of the Atletico players, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, he's bad. Do you remember the old John Stones and Maguire hug like in the derby? I think it was during when it was behind closed doors.
It was in COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We need more fucking. Need more Wayne Rooney's, man.
It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
You know, because obviously Rooney was talking about how he went into the game lengthened his studs. He didn't care that John Terry was his England teammate.
Yeah, that's why I'd fucking kill him.
I just planned to hurt him.
Sensational. Yeah, and the FA's still trying to fucking do him for it. And you're like,
that literally sums up the rivalries back
But
then.
how much does being mates, do you think, actually impact how well you do on the
no,
international
here's the thing.
scale?
They're not mates. They're not mates.
Do you not
They're
think?
all this weird, friendly, fucking wet mashed potato shit.
Yeah, trying to
Because I'll tell you this, anytime I've played against a mate, I've tried to kill him.
Yeah, that is true.
If you play against someone who's an actual mate of yours, you'll fucking destroy him. Yeah, you'll literally try and break the cunt in half. Whereas if it's someone that you kind of know and kind of like, you might be a bit soft with. And I think that's exactly what this England team is. They all kind of like each other, but they're not mates.
Do you not just think
they
that's
won't smash each other?
Do you not just think that's like a mentality thing that's changed now with this generation of
Yeah,
players?
soft as fuck.
Well, like at training now, like if someone puts in a bad tackle, they'll be like, "Well, what are you doing?
Nah, but
what are you doing? Don't injure me."
Didn't you hear about the massive deal they made recently about that? I think it was Liverpool City game, and then Raheem Sterling had a little altercation with Joe Gomez, and then there was International Week after it, and apparently International Week, Sterling went up to Gomez in the canteen about it. It was like a massive.
Like, why do we know about that?
No, but they're saying like
it's who
like
cares?
people saying obviously he's just gone because apparently Gomez was disrespecting him, so we see him in England cap and he's obviously stepped him. So like, what's your problem? What was kind of thing? And people's made a massive deal out of it.
See, I'm cool with that though.
Checking, he's like, Raheem. Yeah, I'll have them potatoes, please. Raheem, we need to have a chat, mate.
So I'll
Not like
smash
that.
his trading face. How about that?
Not that he said. Obviously, remember the other day? Like what is it now?
Andy Cole and Teddy Sheringham hated each other. Wouldn't talk to each other. Didn't want to fucking know each other. Professional though.
Won
a
treble.
lot.
Yeah, true.
People are far too fucking worried about what everyone thinks, and rather than just fucking getting on with it. Like, and I practice what I preach as well. Goes off in paddock training, doesn't it? What do?
Nothing.
Exactly. Because sometimes fucking young men have got to fucking throw it out.
It's competitiveness, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to build a competitive team. If you see your ass with him and you've got a fucking problem with him, go fucking smack him in the mouth then, right? Do what you got to fucking do.
That is true.
They'll finish
If
it.
you're not competitive in training, it's not going to translate well into a match. You're not going to deal well with it when like you're faced with competition. You're like, shit, I need to step up here. You're just not.
Some fucking kid came down for a trial. I say kid, he's about fucking 6'4", he's a big boy.
Well,
Come
you
down
need
for his first trial.
you really need to read that. Shout out to my boy Riley, FIFA later.
Yeah, no, you just done it.
I got Maguire by John Pablo.
Guy comes down for a fucking
That's
trial.
cool.
There's no fucking love lost in there. I'm trying to build a competitive, almost toxically competitive atmosphere at a club. And I mean, his kid don't help because he's a fucking lunatic.
Right.
And Rivaldo, if you didn't know, that's what his brother's called. Rivaldo just fucking top off, let's fucking go.
Really?
Trying to fucking swing at him, yeah. And that same night, there was like 3 fights in that one night. There was something in the air that night. But you know, it's one of them, innit? At the end of the day, you've got a.
But then again, this England team has got to a semi-final and a final.
And
like,
won nothing.
I know, but like it's better than England teams have done before. So people will look at this and go, "This is working.
Is
this is
it
working.
though?
Carry it on." Well, I
And
don't
here's
know.
the thing, international. Right, you got to remember that 2002 team lost to a legendary side.
Yeah, true.
If they hadn't lost that legendary side, who did Brazil have in the semi? Was it fucking South Korea?
Yeah.
Yeah, who just cheated their way.
Do you know what? Yeah.
Have you seen the clip?
I
So,
actually want to
I've
see.
heard.
Will,
What,
can
go
you
on YouTube? It's
can you
ridiculous.
find out
They beat
who,
Germany in the final, right?
who England's
Not
run
the
was?
Yeah,
Germany
they
team.
did. Yeah.
I want to see who
But
England's run
it-
was to the final
When?
in the Euros.
It was,
Oh, it was embarrassing.
Germany.
Scotland.
Nah.
Nah,
it
the
was
Euros.
Germany, someone, and
Yeah,
then
Euro
Denmark.
2020.
Who was it?
Yeah, Euro 2020. England. They had Scotland.
Yeah, that was in the group.
Scotland.
Let's do it from the group.
do you remember the
Give us
Ollie-
that
the whole
super
Ollie
chat
thing?
first, and we'll have a look at it. John Alden Phillips says, I always thought Maguire's never been the character,
Ukraine.
standard and strength of player to be the captain, but he's only one small problem at the club. I'd agree with that.
I agree.
So Croatia, a bit of a spent force now, I would say. Not
that's
the team that we faced in the World Cup 3 years later. And then we drew with Scotland. Are we having that? We drew with a fucking third
Czech
world
Republic.
team. And then we beat Czech Republic 1-0.
Yeah, that's an easy
The
group.
Germany,
Well done.
the Germany one was the one that was like.
Germany, I'll give them that
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
I
they
didn't think
played
they'd
well,
beat
to
that.
be
I didn't
fair.
think they'd win in that game, and they beat Ukraine. Right, nice one.
Then Denmark in
And
the
you beat
semis.
Denmark, sound. And
Yeah.
then you're in a final. Wow, didn't you do well? Fuck my ass. When you look at the Argentina team that England beat in 2002 in the group stage, David Beckham penalty, fucking hell did he hit that hard, right? I'll tell you who was in it. Aymar, Ortega, Juan Sebastian Veron, Batistuta, Ayala, Walter Samuel. Fucking unbelievable team. And that's who the England beat. I think they beat Paraguay as well. And then I feel like they might have drawn a game. The
But
what?
yeah, it's
2002. Tunisia.
yeah. Well, they had Belgium in the group and lost.
Oh, right. Oh, so
You know what I
this is
mean?
England. Right, yeah. So, yeah, lost to Belgium, which is a first big team that they faced. They beat Tunisia, well done. They twatted Panama, has got a population of 4.
Januzaj scored. in that.
They beat Colombia on penalties, and then they beat a shit Sweden side. And then they lost to Croatia. Okay, the margins between victory and doing nothing are so tiny. You know, what happened in 2002 went out to the eventual winners in Brazil. In 2004, we went out to the finalists on penalties in Portugal, and we're probably a bit unfortunate in that. 2006, they went out to Portugal.
Got to the semis and lost to France.
Yeah, and then 2008, they didn't qualify because of Steve McLaren.
Then there was shit.
2010, they were gash.
2010 and 2014, they didn't get out the group.
Colombia was a good side. Name 3 players.
Colombia were decent. Not gonna lie.
They got
We
Yeri
didn't-
fucking Mina in defence.
It was actually, was it not Yerry Mina who scored the header to take it to extra time? I think he
Maybe.
scored a header.
How do you reckon
Yeah.
they'll get on in Qatar, England? What do you reckon, Ronnie?
I don't care.
I don't care.
Yeah, fair. There you go.
I don't think
There you
Jamaica.
go.
I don't think Jamaica are getting
I'm
qualified.
trying to get adopted by Jamaica. At least I could get behind that. Underdog spirit, innit?
I like, everyone loves underdog story. Innit?
Support Canada. They've qualified.
I'm not supporting Canada. I got more in fucking line with Jamaica, I think.
Have Jamaica qualified?
You've been to Buzz Rocks once, that's why.
Wow.
That's why I'm saying that.
So James, Mina, Cuadrado, right? That doesn't make them a good team.
Nah, they weren't a bad side though, Colombia. Not gonna lie, it was a 1-1 draw that we went through on pens. So it's not like we battered them or beat them, but it was a good team.
Made the point though. Only team they beat was Germany. That's it.
And I'll give them all the
done.
credit now because I did not expect them to win. Whereas, look at the World Cup. Fluked it.
Yeah, I know. That Germany team didn't get out the group as well in the previous World Cup.
Yeah.
Shit Germany team. And then they can beat Italy, so it's like, well, there you go.
Well, anyway,
England on paper are the best team going to Qatar. What am I reading?
Now, but
Mings,
what
Maguire,
people,
Stones at
nah,
the
but
back.
what people have
Are
said.
France not going to Qatar? What's going on? France's B team smacks England about like a fucking step kid.
Do you know what it is? It's because I think a lot of the international teams that were once powerhouses for the past 10 years or so have had a little bit of a lull. And then England have had a bit of a rise. And then it looks as if England are top tier. Because if we are being honest, England do have talent.
They do have talent.
And they have a bit of
got
depth
enough
to
of
that.
it in certain areas. I think they're overloaded
Yeah.
with number 10s.
Yeah.
And don't really have a lot of number 8s. You're looking at Jude Bellingham, who's obviously is a baller, but
Yeah, see, someone said Argentina are undefeated in 31 games. It's always a team like that with a run like that going into a major tournament that always
kill
win.
it,
Yeah, kill it.
But mind you, Italy had that, I think, going into the Euros.
And that's why they won the Euros. That's why they won the Euros.
Yeah.
And then they fell off ever since.
But obviously they're not going to the World Cup. But yeah, fuck England.
Exactly.
And the soft fucking generation. Yeah, Joe Bellingham is a baller. He is a baller. But where's your 28-year-old experienced fucking number 8?
Declan Rice.
I don't know, man. It's not always. Obviously, experience matters, but I'm over whoever's the best player. If Bellingham continues to progress like he is
Bellingham's
to
time
show
for
the
him,
form,
surely. Unless Southgate has a fucking absolute brain fart.
where do you think Bellingham's going?
Nowhere this year.
No, but I mean eventually.
Don't know.
Because I'm not sure if he doesn't come to United, if United don't book up their ideas.
United would love him. I know
United-
that. I know
United
for a
are
fact United would love him,
perfect.
but it's how much it's going to cost.
It's a classic signing where they would break the bank, though. It's
Yeah,
another
it is,
young
that's-
English player, do you know what I mean?
Leonard Rickett says, does Steve hate international football or just England? Just England. I love international football. Genuinely love international. I love, hang on. I'll rephrase that. I'll take that back because that was giddy. I love international tournaments.
That's a lie. Apparently, there's a Sky Sports update that everyone's screaming at us about.
Oh, right, okay.
With Ten Hag. Steve will get on that, don't worry.
I love international tournaments. International football bores me. Like these friends
Yeah,
and
the
shit.
tournaments are the tournaments. Yeah,
tournaments. I wish they tournamentise qualification.
They have. Is it what have they called? National Nations League.
No,
Nations
no,
League.
they've tried to.
No, just
They've
do it all
tried to,
in
anyway.
one go.
What is
Better
it?
off typing in Ten Hag, see what the update's about. Everyone's screaming it, but I don't know what's
Has
actually
there
going
been
on.
an update, has there?
Is that a second interview?
Breaking: Manchester United have been formally gathering information about Eric Ten Hag.
Oh, what is confidence?
That's not breaking news,
That's-
is
that's
it? For
that.
fuck's sake! Is that like Melissa Reddy?
Yeah, we've been had.
AKA fucking Mane's missus. She got briefed up to death the other fucking week, didn't she? Maybe. The shit she was coming out with anyway. Anyway,
Jeez.
right, we're gonna wrap it up. Go shave your balls, you savages. You need to. Link is in the description. Manscaped.com. XG20 is the code. 20% off. If you see this early enough, and I think you're probably too late, there's like a couple of green and golds for sale. This is the first wave. Once all of the fucking green and gold shirts are going out in the next couple of days, that's it. They're all done then. That's it. The last wave, the last 100 or so are going out by the end of this week. If you've got a green and gold shirt that you're waiting for, it should be with you by the end of next week at the latest. There is a little wave that we've just released now of green and gold shirts. Then once everyone who's been waiting for one gets theirs and everyone's happy days, we will release the remaining wave or so. There's less than 50. So if you want one, go check them out. But cheers for tuning in. Cheers, Dre. Cheers, Ronnie. See you in a bit. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.